Hello everyone, I am Virgilio Rente Francisco and my lecture is on how to write the financial plan, specifically on forecasting, cash budget, and operating and capital expenditure budget. My learning outcomes are 1. To know what is forecasting. 2. To know what is cash budget and its components. 3. To differentiate operating expenditure and capital expenditure budget. A business must constantly adjust to the constantly changing market. In order to predict those adjustments, its management needs to forecast what may happen in the marketplace. Also, the goal of a business is to manage its activities of buying, selling, and paying expenses and make profit. Budget is the roadmap on how you intend to start the year and how you will arrive at the end with a profit. So what is forecasting? Forecasting is a decision-making tool used by many businesses to help in budgeting, planning, and estimating future growth. In its simplest term, forecasting is the attempt to predict future outcomes based on past events and management insights. There are two types of forecasting, the qualitative and the quantitative. Qualitative forecasting is an estimation methodology that uses expert judgment rather than numerical analysis. This type of forecasting relies upon the knowledge of highly experienced employees and consultants to provide insights for future outcomes, while the quantitative forecasting uses numerical facts and statistical data. Financial forecasting is an estimation or projection of future revenue and expenses of a company. Financial forecasting is critical in business success. To effectively manage working capital and cash flows, a company must have a reasonable idea on how much revenue it plans to receive and what necessary expenses will be over a given period. So what are the steps in forecasting? First, identify the problem. Defining the problem carefully requires an understanding of the way the forecast will be used, who requires the forecast, and how the forecasting function fits within the organization requiring the forecast. Second, collect information. Information essentially comes from two ways: by the knowledge gathered by the expert and the actual data. Third, perform preliminary analysis. An early analysis might tell you right away if the data is usable or not. It may also reveal patterns and trends that may help you in choosing the forecasting model. 4. Choose the forecasting model. Once all the information is collected, you may now choose the forecasting method that you think will give you the best possible prediction. Remember that there is not one single forecasting model that works in all situations. It depends on the availability and the nature of the data. 5. Data analysis. Run your data through the forecasting model you have chosen. 6. Verify model performance. When the time comes, it is important for you to compare your forecast to the actual data. This may allow you to evaluate the accuracy of the model you have chosen and the entire process. So for example, we are going to project the sales of Ping Ping's Lechon in 2017 using a 3-period moving average. So for 2015, the projected sales for Ping Ping's Lechon came from the average of the sales from 2012, 2013, and 2014, which is equal to 15.26 million. For the projected sales of 2016 came from the average sales from the period 2013, 2014, 2015, which is equal to 17.93 million. For the projected sales for 2017, it came from the average of the periods 2014, 2015, 2016, which is equals to 19.26 million. So in 2017, the sales of Ping's Lechon is forecasted to reach about 19.26 million. Cash budget. Cash budget is an estimation of the cash inflows and outflows for a business over a specific period of time. This budget assesses whether a company has sufficient cash to operate. Companies use sales and production forecasts to create cash budget. So the main components of cash budgets are the time period. The first decision to make when preparing a cash budget is to decide for the time period which your budget will apply. Second, the cash position. The amount of money that you wish to keep on hand will depend on the nature of your business, but the fast happening opportunities and the unfortunate occurrences may require you to have some significant amount of cash reserve. Third, estimated sales and expenses. The fundamental concept of cash budget is the estimating the expected cash receipt and expected cash expenditure that will take place during a period. So the following categories should be considered for the expected cash receipt and expected cash expenditure. For cash receipt, cash sales, collections of receivable, other income. For cash expenditure, cost of raw materials, payroll, advertising, administrative expense, and etc. So what are the steps for preparing a cash budget? So first, determine the cash balance. Determine how much cash will be available at the beginning of the period. Second, add receipts. Determine how much expected cash receipts are collections from the customers that will flow into the cash account. Third, deduct disbursements. Calculate how much cash will be required to cover disbursements or cash payouts during the period. Fourth, calculate the cash excess or deficiency. To calculate for the cash excess or deficiency, you may deduct disbursements from the sum of the beginning balance and the expected cash receipts. Fifth, determine the financing need. If in the end of the period there is cash excess, then operation may be covered. But on the other hand, if there is a deficiency, then you have to plan to finance your cash needs for the period from other sources such as backlogs. 6. Establish the cash ending balance. The cash ending balance will include the expected cash receipts and loans minus the disbursements and the financing costs. The ending balance will be the beginning balance for the next period. The capital expenditure are the amounts that companies use to purchase major physical goods that will be used for more than 1 year. The type of industry of a company largely determines the nature of its capital expenditure. Capital expenditure includes the following: plant and equipment, building expansion, hardware purchases such as computers, and vehicles for transporting the goods or products of a company. While the operating expenditure are the costs for a company to run its business operations on a daily basis. So the operating expenditure or expenses largely makes up the financing costs of a company. So the manager should look for ways to reduce its operating expenses without causing critical drop on its production output or the quality of their products. Operating expenses includes the following: the rent, utilities, salaries, any expense considered sales, general, and administrative.